My name is Ben. I'm a volunteer with Cru, and today we're talking about loving your neighbor. Jesus says that the two great commandments are love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. They flow into one another, right? As we love the Lord our God, that flows into loving our neighbor. It causes us to love our neighbor. It fuels us to love our neighbor. And it fuels us to move out on mission on our campus, in our dorms, but also on mission wherever God has sent us over the summer. We are sent by God to be missionaries in the neighborhoods, in the apartment buildings, in the cubicles where God has placed us. In Acts 17, Paul tells the Athenians that God has determined the times and places that people lived. He's determined who your neighbors are. He's given you to them as their neighbor and them to you as your neighbor. Why? So that people might seek God and feel their way towards Him. So God has given you neighbors so that people can meet God. So we want to move out this summer as agents of blessing, as agents of grace, as agents of community into our neighborhoods. But what does that look like? That's hard for some of us. If you grew up like me, you had some neighbors and you didn't know their names. Probably barely saw them. Maybe you had good relationships with your neighbors. Maybe you lived in a dorm and you didn't know everybody's name that lived around you. Maybe you lived in a house this past year and you barely knew anything about the people living just down the hall from you. So I think the first step for us as we try to love our neighbors is to simply meet our neighbors, to go up to them, to shake their hands, to say, "Hi, my name is," and find out what their name is. Then find out something else about them. Yes, you know what color car they drive. Now find out what kind of sports they like, what their kids' names are, where they grew up. Find some simple things out about them. And then step 3, I'd say, is take it a little bit deeper. Try and move towards the level of what are they excited about? What are they worried about? Where in life are they struggling or suffering, afraid? That's where we really want to go. That's how we want to really be moving into people's lives and able to bless them. But it all starts out by getting to know people and learning people's names. We love our neighbors because God the Son became our neighbor and loved us. He incarnated. He took on human flesh and moved towards us in love. He moved towards us with fullness of life, with abundant life. And so that's what we want to move towards people with. We want to, in word and deed, bring hope and bring blessing towards the people that God has placed around us. We want to create community where trust can be formed, where needs can be met, where gospel hope and gospel clarity and gospel truth can be proclaimed clearly in the midst of all the sin and the misery around us. And all of that starts with simply knowing a name, starting to talk to people, stepping across the street, shaking a hand. So that's my challenge for you today.